excellent presenter. He will be also doing the panel. But today he's here to tell us all about what IBS software is supplying as a service. So Daniel, welcome. There you are.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can definitely hear you. I can see you. Yeah. The stage is all yours.
So then let me just start my presentation. So it's a big pleasure to virtually meet you at AGIFORS Crew 2022. Thanks, Philip, and thanks, Marcel, for organizing it. Of course, I would have been preferred to be with you also at the bar and the conference room and to see each other in person. I hope you are going to find a host for next year. And I promise to be in Toulouse in September at the symposium. So my name is Daniel Stecher. I'm Vice President, Airline Operations and Business Development at IBS Software. And IBS Software brought groundbreaking innovations to the market. And since I joined the company in 2017, so I'm now 5.5 years with IBS, several airlines have selected iFlight, iFlight Crew, and also iFlight Ops and iFlight Hub. And they transformed their airline operations and crew management practice with the support of innovative technology. And today I want to give you some more insights about our approach in airline operations and crew management. IBS is redefining crew management and airline operations, and the new iFlight digital platform helps airlines to be more efficient, more sustainable, more attractive for pilots and cabin crew, but also attractive to new talent to work in crew planning and the OCC. I have saved some time at the end of my presentation for questions, and hopefully we can also have a lively discussion. I want to put a disclaimer and a warning. This presentation includes content and audio some viewers and listeners may find upsetting or disturbing. So let's start with very sad news. So I'm reading every day about our industry, and at the moment our industry is again going through another difficult period. Many passengers are affected from massive flight cancellations in Europe and USA at this moment. Travel demand is very high, so we speak about revenge travel. It started, and many airlines seem to be not well prepared for it. We read about manpower shortages at airports, and airlines report about pilot shortages, IT staff shortages, and ground staff shortages. So they always blame something else, and I think they also have to try to find maybe root causes on their side. In addition to this, the current high fuel prices and also longer flight times due to airspace closures increase the cost for airlines. And in addition, I'm now reading that airline pilots vote for strike actions in various countries. And we can read almost every day, again and again, about an issue at an airport or from an airline. But I have very good news for you. IBS Software and the digital platform iFlight is helping airlines to tackle all these challenges and operational limitations. iFlight is redefining airline operations, hub and crew management, and airlines who operate with iFlight can better plan, they can execute better, and can get a proactive real-time view on the entire airline operations and crew management practice. Airlines can finally eliminate all the manual process steps. They can streamline existing processes, which are mostly built around inflexible legacy IT systems, and have workflows in place which alert all stakeholders proactively about potential disruptions. And the communication will be automated and collaborative decision-making will be much easier. It all sounds phenomenal. The good news is the future is now. So all this is available, and IBS is also making things happen. So we further invest into our digital platforms. So a good percentage of our annual revenue is invested into our digital platforms. So we steadily innovate and evolve with our platforms. And during the pandemic, we could help many airlines to go live with this new technology. So we know how to help airlines even under very difficult and challenging circumstances with border closures and people were not able to travel. And we could now also increase our community because I think the AGIFORS community is one example, but we are very, very strong believers in the power of communities. And the AGIFORS community is an important one. I like the format of the AGIFORS conferences, and I like to be a sponsor and to help really the organization to evolve because we need conferences like this. We need to spread the know-how in the industry because I think many airlines, they don't know what is available in the market and what other airlines have already accomplished. And IBS Software is driving the community spirit. We recently connected 92 global airlines, and we help to spread the necessary knowledge across all geographies. I think that's really very important because business transformation and change management are big challenges which require strong leadership and the right, and especially now, a new mindset. So we were delighted to see that so many airlines took the opportunity to get to know how airline leaders, some of them were customers from IBS, some industry partners from Asia Pacific, Europe, North and South America, changed the way their airlines operate now. How these airlines and organizations coped with the new ever-changing business environment and how technology is driving the necessary change and also being the enabler for the change. And the airline leaders were also talking about the different skills which are now required and that talent also needs to evolve. And what we are hearing from airlines at the various conferences, I was recently in the US in an in-person event, the NACU, but there is of course now the AGIFORS crew. We had the AGIFORS operations and our own Airshow 2022 is not surprising. The pandemic made imminent problems of our industry more transparent than ever. And technology is mainly from last century and is mainly the bottleneck. And we all know that technology is the enabler for change. We are just using technology to be all connected worldwide in this virtual conference. And technology is the enabler for change, as I said, and change is the only constant in life. And market requirements and the environments airlines are operating at the moment have been changing dramatically the last years. And bottlenecks occur always where technology is outdated, is not integrated, has not real-time data available, is not available everywhere. I'm just saying working from home, for example. And the results of that are human errors. The users are not well supported from many technology used by airlines, which results in higher costs, lower efficiency, and what we are reading at the moment, I think, is also not creating a good picture of the industry, lower attractiveness of the entire industry to be a workplace of the future. So airlines have to fight now to find workforces because people who were followed or got packages from airlines, they found other jobs which are sometimes even better paid than while working for an airline. So agility is key, and providing new staff members the work environment which other industries are offering since many years, I think this is key for airlines. And I think working from home is a big opportunity, in my opinion, for airlines. Hire new crew schedulers in other locations, for example, not just the pilots and cabin crew. Think outside the box and make use of digital technologies and question the status quo. There are airlines who have implemented new working models and make use of fresh blood and new ideas, and I come to that in a minute. Some of you might watch Formula One, and I'm convinced that airlines can learn a lot from Formula One. For me, it's a magic to see how Formula One teams can change 4 wheels under 2 seconds. So let's see how this works. There's a small video. So this is, for me, always magic to see how this combination of experts on the ground, well-trained experts, and the optimized process of changing the 4 wheels and the usage of state-of-the-art technology is resulting in changing 4 wheels under 2 seconds. By the way, the innovations in technology were driving pit stop times down and further down in Formula One. So if you watch pit stops from the 60s or 70s or 80s or beginning of 2000, you see that they took much longer times because the technology was not that advanced that we have today. And the technology is a mission critical success factor in Formula One. And there's a lot of technology in Formula One. The teams know everything about the car and the driver. The audience is even watching live and can look into every cockpit, can see the current speed, fuel consumption, and the driver's activity with a steering wheel. And the team management is monitoring the fuel consumption, the weather, the competition, and is using computing power to simulate the race evolution and the surroundings and ever-changing conditions of the race and the car. I'm afraid airlines are not operating like this. I'm convinced they can learn from Formula One, and some of you might now say that airlines are completely different than Formula One racing teams. And I don't agree with that view, and I will show you why. Because unfortunately, airlines need way more than 2 seconds to replace, for example, a crew member or make a tail change. And how does it work? Same like in Formula One. It's a combination of experts on the ground, well trained, of course. We have sometimes optimized processes, and now comes the big difference to Formula One. It's the usage of non-integrated old technology, IT systems in silos on different screens, and often pen and paper. It's phenomenal what these colleagues who have these working conditions in operations control, but also in crew planning, are doing every day in order to keep things going, despite this challenging and suboptimal work environment. It's not surprising that it takes more time to replace a crew member than 4 wheels in Formula One if the technology is the bottleneck. The OCC colleagues and crew planning colleagues, they need to check many items manually or semi-automatically in various isolated IT systems, operation manuals, Excel lists, and what is written on the wall. All this takes a lot of time. Minutes, many minutes. Every day, I'm regularly asking how much time an airline requires to replace a crew member or to make a tail change, and I get pretty high minute numbers, so way away from just seconds. And time is money. Everybody who works in this industry has the responsibility to also step up and call to action. Do we really want to continue like this? Some of you might think or say that's normal, or we always work that way, or something similar. Excuse me, but I warned you in the beginning of my talk that some content might disturb the audience. What you're seeing here or experiencing at your current workplace is not the new normal anymore. Is every airline enabled to support working from home, for example? So there are airlines who go an innovative path, and they have changed the business with the support of new digital technology. Together with IBS Software, they redefined the future of airline operations and crew management. Luckily, we have some trendsetters, and based on earlier discussions and workshop with a small community, at that time, we called it the core group of influence, airlines like Lufthansa, British Airways, Emirates, KLM, and Qantas. IBS Software developed a complete new digital platform, iFlight. It's a truly native cloud-based and browser-based airline platform with leading airlines which airlines quickly selected once it was available to the market in 2017 and 18. IBS Software invested multi-million-dollar in innovative features and platform extensions. And we also acquired a company, some of you might know Adopt from many years. They are as well an established brand owned by Kronos, and we acquired Adopt in September 2019 because we believe that airline operations and crew management is an important market which will also grow in the future. So many airlines raised their arms once the pandemic hit the industry, but a handful of early adopters took the opportunity in the crisis, because every crisis is also an opportunity, and pushed their business transformation projects in 2020 and 21. And IBS was supporting them remotely. So that was, of course, challenging for us to support a business transformation and implementing a digital platform completely remotely. So we had to rewrite our playbooks. We would not recommend to do this forever. It's always better to meet in person. But even if there is the next pandemic, there is no excuse to bring the house in order, because there are enough use cases in the industry that you can completely remotely implement digital platforms in airline operations and crew management. And we have innovated further during the pandemic and have launched a digital platform for regional airlines and small mid-sized carriers, where Lynx Air in Canada is the launching customer. And we modularized iFlight, and we can now also help airlines to bridge gaps in their current IT environment with iFlight training planning or iFlight vacation planning, for example, which are individual modules which can be easily and quickly integrated in and connected with the third-party crew management system. So that can be really quickly done in 3 to 6 months, for example. Yeah, and our iFlight pairing and iFlight rostering, formerly known as Adopt, are also creating good traction meanwhile in the market. The capacity goes up, and airlines require now crew planning optimization power for the costly assets, especially with pilot shortage and cabin crew shortage. The assets are more costly than ever, so they need this computer power to plan them. And you can expect more good news from IBS Software in the upcoming weeks and months. So we have a very good traction. So you see here 2, 3 letter codes, which represent 2 new customers, which we acquired very recently in Asia Pacific. The announcement will come soon. And the good news is that the XYZ is the first airline who took the complete package from crew planning optimization, airline operations, crew tracking, and disruption recovery. That was the first time after the acquisition of Adopt. And the other airline, YXZ, is selecting the iFlight pairing and rostering alone and will plug it into their crew management system. So all in all, we did a fantastic job the last years and could really help airlines to thoroughly transform their operations. Yeah, and speaking about iFlight and iFlight Crew in particular, it's a very comprehensive digital crew management platform which supports the entire value chain from long-term planning, short-term planning, pre-ops, day of ops, and post-ops. It's modular and has a huge list of interfaces which helps airline to connect third-party systems with iFlight. And iFlight is the only platform which has a user-centric, comprehensive disruption recovery module. So we are not push-button believers. That was one of the outcomes of the core group of influence, where the airline said they are not trusting into algorithm-driven solutions, especially under changing situations in disruption recovery. They're often not understanding the reasoning behind the solution. And that was the root cause for our very user-centric approach. So we equip the user with a bunch of tools, and so I would say in combination with iFlight Ops, our disruption recovery is, which considers airport, aircraft crew, and passenger-related aspects beside other important operational criteria like weather slots, ATC airport slots, costs, maintenance, and so on. We empower the user, and they can templatize different disruption recovery situations and can create a learning system. Of course, at the end, they're going to trust this methodology, and emerging technologies can then, of course, help to streamline this and automate it, because the user understands that what the algorithm is now doing is exactly somehow created from himself. We have a bunch of what we call smart features like best crew or best sector, which can be used on the fly on the day of ops, where you can optimize every small disruption, and it helps the user to apply roster changes much faster than today. So replacing a crew member, we were showing this in one of our road shows, it's maximum 1 minute, whereas today airlines, they need much more time to do that in their current environment. So remember the pit stop in Formula One? iFlight crew is somehow the wheel gun of the crew management world, and you can really make changes much faster. And you remember also the picture I showed you earlier where the expert from the airline was in front of several screens and keyboards and mouse and trying to find the needle in the bunch of information. iFlight has a different approach. We integrate the various data points and data sources and organize the work for the user and help them to quickly spot the potential problem before the problem really occurs. Instead of 3, 4, 5, 6, or even more screens, iFlight provides one situational awareness window with plenty of operational viewpoints and focus areas. For example, open crew complements, open duties, operational limitations and alerts, recency expiries, unacknowledged roster changes, standby crew, costs, you name it, all in one view, available and proactively pushed to the attention to the user. And there's no need to find the problem in the Gantt chart. No worries, we have the Gantt chart, but we think the situation awareness window is the better landing page for the user. Everything is already visible in the iFlight situation awareness window. There is no need to check through lists, making phone calls in order to get information of flip through manuals and papers. The entire crew management team and everybody authorized user who has access to the system has the complete crew operations in her or his view. Fully operational transparency, easy to be configured. Every user has his situation awareness window, and it can be customized if the focus or the viewpoint changes from one day to the other. And iFlight is a native cloud-based solution. It's not client server. It's a native cloud-based application. So you just require a standard web browser. And that means you can carry operations in your pocket and use it on a smartphone or tablet. And this enables airline staff to work from everywhere. So working from home is the new standard, and working from everywhere is a huge opportunity for airlines. So there is no need to commute. This has a positive impact on CO2 emissions and the sustainability ambitions of airlines. No need to call in colleagues to the OCC or the crew planning practice. So you can really improve also lifestyle of the people on the ground. And if your airline supports work from home, iFlight is the perfect technology for it. With its workflow support feature, it's a little bit similar what we know from Microsoft Outlook, where you can assign a task to somebody, and then it's raising a flag. It's getting red once the due date is over. Every user gets operations critical information proactively shown in the user-specific iFlight situation awareness window. And there's no need for phone calls or emails. The smartphone is vibrating or pinging if a new alert is created from iFlight, and the entire crew operations gets a booster and is changing from reactionary to proactive and an evolution of management by exception. So collaborative disruption management across the entire airline with all stakeholders involved is the new normal. And iFlight has a cost monitor to track unplanned crew costs due to variations from the planned schedule, for example. iFlight real-time crew complement calculators and load-dependent crewing functions ensure appropriate crew levels on operations. Various smart decision support tools like best crew, best sector ensure faster resolution of incidents and disruptions. The various iFlight servers suggest the best crew on duty, reduce delays and cancellations caused by crew and hence unplanned costs. And iFlight enables transparent and round-the-clock crew communication, enhancing crew empowerment and satisfaction, and that results, of course, in reduced absenteeism and much higher motivation. So we have a very nice crew portal, and we are also fostering the community within the crew members of an airline itself. So iFlight provides you with early detection and efficient alerting of potential risk to crew duty and has a standby utilization dashboard, various flexible reports for more efficient crew utilization. And the rule engine of iFlight Crew uses natural language, and it's making it very flexible and easy for the airline to manage the rule authoring. Because you don't need vendor support for this. So it's very time to market, and union negotiations, for example, you can really simulate the impact of a new rule. Yeah, and the future is now. Once an airline brought its house in order, we can do the fancy stuff. Based on iFlight as digital airline and crew management platform, the many emerging technologies kick in and add value for the airline and the decision-making process. With our end-to-end platform, iFlight is becoming a learning system which enables the user to take decision based on a lot of data points. Machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithm will augment the decision-making quality. And in the field of optimization and OR, quantum computing will certainly speed up the creation of solutions in the future. We have presented at AGIFORS Crew 2021 the possibility to use IBS Software standby or reserve crew forecasting model in order to increase the forecasting accuracy from only 40% in average at airlines to incredible 80%. In times of pilot and crew member shortages, every asset needs to be used wisely. iFlight Crew can really help you with that. Yeah, and there was always a reply, oh, we don't need a forecasting model because we have enough crew members and only reduce capacity up in the air. All this is what we heard in 2021. Now in 2022, we read the stories about pilot shortage and canceled flights because the revenge travel and demand is above capacity. So don't wait too long to tackle this issue. We will have a presentation about this topic from another colleague. I think that's something where airlines can do much, much better than they do today. Yeah, and I'm afraid airlines burn money every day. The good news, more than 20 airlines have started to stop this practice and have opted to have much better control and visibility on airline operations and crew management. IBS Software and the entire iFlight team, we are available for your airline to discuss how such business transformation could look like. We will provide you with options based on the various implementation projects we did all over the world, and according to the specific requirements of the airline, we will, as a team, work out your plan. We would love to save you millions of US dollars with iFlight in the various business benefit areas. You can see that airlines sum up a lot of burnt money in the various areas, and we help airlines with what we call value diagnostic exercise, and we can quantify the various improvements and give it a price tag, which will easily convince the C-level to not wait for the potential cost savings and to really make use of technology to save all this money. So every minute, remember, which you wait is 100 US dollars. That's from my side. Do you have questions?
Yes, thank you. Well, we do have questions, yet we do not have time. But I have one question. I was really intrigued by your analogy about the Formula One and the the improvement on the pit stop times. You compare the pit stop in early this century to pit stop now, and that is much faster. But with the pit stops, it's like there is weeks between two races and there's months between two seasons. So enough time to put everything down, have a great look, replace whatever you have, and then start all over again. An airline is like a race that continues running non-stop. So how do we improve our pit stops while still continuing our race?
I was somehow expecting to hear something like this, because sometimes things are beyond imagination. But I think the pandemic was for airlines the best moment to bring the house in order, because it was the lowest risk business transformation time ever. Whereas I was hearing mostly reasons and explanations why a project is not feasible. So I think it's all about leadership. Of course, you shouldn't make a cutover during peak season time. We consider the resource planning, but you could see that airlines like LATAM Airlines Group, very complex operations. By the way, since they have our system, they're the most on-time airline in Americas. So 13 airlines work on one digital platform, and you can listen to what was necessary to do this change from the CIO, Juliana Rios. It's online. She was part of the air show. It's all about mindset. It's all about leadership, to push the team, but also to identify if people are not having the right mindset for change, because it all starts here. If you are always seeing a problem instead of seeing the opportunity, we will not advance. And I think the industry is very good in always describing problems and having explanations. And I'm very glad that there are strong leaders as role models who are now early adopters. And I think every airline can follow the example. And so it's key to trust each other, to make a good planning, to learn from the past. So I think that's also one of the biggest problems I see at airlines. They always believe they know best how to do such exercise. And I think they should more listen to vendors, because vendors have one big advantage to all airlines. They know more airlines. They know more locations. They know more IT environments. They have done such an exercise more often than any airline in the world. And I think if the trust is there and you follow the recommendation of a vendor, you can really do good things in a short while. So such a business transformation, even at an airline of a LATAM size, can be done in 15 to 24 months. So you see the complexity, but you don't have to wait for centuries. And I remember very well when I was starting to speak in 2020 with many airlines, they were all having reasons. Now we are 2.5 years later. We have this still the same situation at many airlines. So I think the mindset is necessary. So airlines have to blame themselves that they are not willing to change. And I'm very happy to connect you with all the change makers, because you will always say, you are paid to say so. But that's why we do the air show, because I'm asking a question to somebody who is not even a customer, and he is explaining me exactly the same what they have experienced. So that's why I think the community just needs to connect and learn from each other. And there's no voodoo. It can be done with a good team.
Okay, thank you very much. There are some more questions, but we will send them to you and get the answers out to the people. Thank you very much for your participation in this, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at the panel.
And stay healthy and safe.
We definitely will.
Thank you also from my end.